And there we go. Finally, it kicked in. Okay, that's great. That's great. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Ah, thanks. Ah, thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Saturday edition of the Jedi Academy here on Reality Skewed Gamers with your boy Ranger J 1999. Happy Saturday to all you wonderful people here in the chat. Welcome. This is the show where we do nothing but answer your questions and hang out with you guys for a couple of hours for basically the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the Mando Game, brought to you by Capital Games. Glad to have you guys here. I'm your host, Ranger J 1999, the aforementioned, and I'm glad to have you guys here on a Saturday. Hope everyone's doing very well. For me, it's another Saturday. We didn't do this last weekend, of course, because I was at MegaCon. If you'd like to see all the fun and cool stuff that we did at MegaCon, go to the 2020 for MegaCon channel. You can see all the great photos, me with the homies and homette, with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, who were outstanding. Our pictures with Tamora Morrison, and you know, all the fun, me and my costume and everything with that. So if you want to go check out all that stuff, feel free to go do that. Also, for next year, 2025, February 6th to the 9th, mark it on your calendar. We are going to be setting up a channel in Discord whenever Finn decides to not be on vacation. And we're going to try to announce it a lot sooner. We're going to go back to MegaCon, had a lot of fun. And that's the plan, and we're sticking to it. So, coffee. So, welcome to the Jedi Academy. This is a show where we answer a Q&A show. We sit here for 2 hours or so and answer your questions about the game. If you have a question or anything, just anything pertinent on your mind, just put the question into the chat. However, make sure you put the word question for your actual question, comment, and or statement. That's how we identify questions and get those done quickly. If you could do me a favor, we are on YouTube. I know it's a difficult ask. If you could, it really does help the channel and stuff. If you like this kind of stuff that we do here, just go hit the thumbs up. Hit the like button. Just hit the like button right now. Stop what you're doing. Go hit the like button. Not hard. Just take the mouse, move it over about 3 or 4 inches and hit click. Easy enough. If you'd like to do more, you can watch the video, all our videos all the way through. Leave comments. Interactions help. You know, every little bit helps. So if you could, you know, please do. And yeah, get your questions in and things of that nature. And we will take it from there. Also, if you go to, you know, you guys really like me doing this. If you want to see me do a breakfast shoey, you guys like seeing me doing shoeys for some sick reason. I think it's because it just grosses me out. I can't stand them. If you would like, then please hold on. I got to go do something. I don't know. So anyway, we are raising funds to get a new video card. I started doing some new games with you guys. But I need a new video card. We're raising money for that. But you know, you just want to donate and not have me do a shoey. But if you do want to see me suffer, just go there. Every $7 in there goes toward the new video card. I use the shoey fund for the costume that you saw me wearing in MegaCon and for our charity stuff. And then, you know, doing the stuff that we do here. But we do need a new video card. There's some new games, stuff that I want to play, but they're expensive. And it's the only way I can raise money is to drink Foster's for you guys. So if you'd like to do that, just make sure you go clink in the chat. That lets me know that there was a donation. Every $7 goes toward that. So if you want to help with that, you can. So get your questions in, do all that stuff. We'll see what other content creators. I'll leave the Zoom call open and tag them all. If they want to come join, they can. And if not, then that's okay too. We'll just be you and me drinking some coffee, hanging out, answering your questions. Give your greetings too, guys. You know, I like to shout out everybody and say, thank you for being here. You could be watching anything else. You somehow find me entertaining, and I appreciate that about you. Hang them. All right, let me get some vape going. Get a little nicotine in me. Get a little caffeine in me. Start this process and start saying hi to everybody. Oh, well, we got to first identify our good friend Jedi Rules. He's been a member for 7 months. Says, Ranger, I full cleared my GC yesterday, plus still undefeated GC this time around. Open yourself up to a whole new world. Very nice. The sacked engineer. What happened to the engineer? Says, hello, Ranger. I'm no more choo-choo for me. What? Bastard fired me without giving me any reason. Oh my god. Do I need to file a habeas corpus? Do you even have habeas corpuses in your country? I don't know. I was gonna put the whole system on trial. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I'm sure with your experience that they'll find someone else, or someone will want to hire you. Can't be a trained engineer for as long as you have and not get another gig, dude. You got too much VAT. You're too valuable to the organizations. I'll make an offer you can't refuse. I'm sure there's more work out there for you. The dumb bastards will just have to regret giving you away. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I was wondering why it says the sacked engineer. Well, one more time for you because until we know otherwise. Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If that train goes off the track, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, back to the scene. Okay, I start getting too crazy with that. I got to stop myself right about there because I'll start doing the whole damn thing and it loses its things. So yes, Desi Jingle, snarf, 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 snarf. It says choo choo. Yes, that's our train engineer. No longer is your train engineer for the moment, or get another job here. Well, that's bad news. I'm sorry to hear that, Angie. So hello, Desi, the beautiful Desi Jingle, snarf, snarf. Depressed Swamp says happy Saturday, skewers. Well, happy Saturday. Jesus Dominguez says good afternoon. Hola, Jesus. Young Ranger. Both of says, por favor. What else? 73 says good morning, peoples and peoples. Yes, it's all about the pebbles. The pebbles are here. Supple 989 natural environment in soggy old England says hello, Ranger and Stewards. It's me from Fitch and Fish and Chips Land and some soggy peas as a part of a balanced breakfast in old England. Nathaniel Morgan says I blame Finn for engineer. I mean, really, that's true. I mean, if you think about it, stupid Finn. You know, I mean, it's stupid Finn. Right? Yeah. You get more support from the community than you get from your own coworkers. Well, we love you more. That's why, engineer. Our dad jokes unlimited at MegaCon. If you would like to be punched in the dick and then thrown into the trash, by all means, Depressed Wampa, go ahead and do that and see how I react. And I'll be in full armor, and so good luck stopping me. I'm already lethal as I am, but when you put armor on me, it gets a little bit dangerous. So if you don't want to have children again in game, in the future, by all means, do dad jokes. Of course, you can do unlimited dad jokes, just not around me. Because Desi loves them, Finn loves them. You guys can all go to your own, get a goddamn room and tell dad jokes to your heart content. I will not be participating in that. I will go hang out with the homies and homettes and drink Long Island iced teas and get fucking sloshed. Boss Livewire, good morning. We did GAC last night. I am going to have a new start time for GACs on Friday. Since Heinz retired, I'm going to start later my GACs around 8:30, 9 o'clock my time. I'll post something in the chat next Friday for that. I'm going to go later in the evening just so I can cover that time slot. There's a lot of people that watch the Heinz stream and watched me and Rambam and do all our crazy stuff. And that's no longer there. And I'm like, you know what? I'll push my time a little bit back and have that up and for you guys. There you go. Let's see here. I did, Desi. Yeah. Let's see. Boss is here. Never. I'll be right with you in a few minutes, mate. Oh, good. Oh, jolly good fun. Mike Jedi Roasted Ranger, I don't like dad jokes. Yeah, I don't either. It's not that dad jokes are the problem. It's just that after 900,000 of them in my ear for the last 8.5 years, I've grown sick of them. I really have. Yeah. It's the weekend. Why not dad joke? If you want to get timed out, by all means, go for it. Some good coffee. All right. Also, make sure if you do go Clink, you want to see me do a breakfast shoey, you got to go Clink because that's the only way I'll know about the. It's not that I don't trust you guys. Yeah, I don't trust you guys. If you can't, just go to the PayPal link. I'll put it in here in chat for you. There you go. Should take you right there. Let me see what happens when I click that. Yay, it does. Just make sure you go Clink Clink, and then I'll do it. Then I'll do the shoeies and stuff, and there you go. All right. Looks like Nev will be joining us. Whoever else joins us, that's the name of the game. So yeah, I'm starting to feel better. I've recovered from just the sheer exhaustion and joy and everything else for MegaCon. So starting tomorrow, I'm gonna get back into my routine. Um, so some things on the costume. I've got to get the suit taken in. I also have to do a little bit of more work. We'll raise money for that stuff afterwards. That's not going to be that much. I'm going to get the whistling birds. I'm going to get the other thing for the armband and make it digital finally. I got to repaint some of the stuff and just start from scratch. Really get down there and get crusty with it. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get that done next. I'm going to try a new process on the helmet. The helmet looked good, but it doesn't look great, to me. And I'm just the way I am. So we'll have some stuff for that in the future. There's no rush on that right now. Big thing is getting that goddamn video card. Oh my. So yes. See here. Okay, that's good. Ranger, how did you do in GAC yesterday? Oh, we've one shot full clear. We had a couple of drops. My opponent is attacked a couple times and stopped. I think our score is 2,000. We tried. I was doing a little bit of experimenting with everybody last night. We did do one shot full clear. That wasn't a problem. It's just I tried a couple teams, lower probability of winning than I normally would, just so we could show it off and have some fun. And it didn't quite work out. So it's fine. I don't mind doing that. I mean, if I win GAC, I win GAC. If I don't, then I don't. I mean, we're 2-2 right now. Well, the reason I'm 2-2 is because I didn't do the first two matches, basically. I was in MegaCon. I had no chance in hell of doing GAC. So it's like, okay. We were a little bit busy. We were very busy. Yes, we were doing stuff with our comrades. So yes. Oh yeah, you got a little stuff here you can hit click on the size and forgot about the little hearts and things. So yeah, we'll see. If my opponent wins, great. If we win, great. It doesn't matter to me. More crystals, yeah. I mean, I'm just hoarding right now for Bane, and then making a big push for about 4 or 5 characters to relegate. So I'm going to be getting a lot of relegate material here. This next conquest will be what I call my cache conquest. I'll buy a lot of impulse detectors. I only need 70 shards for Bane, so I could fart and get it, I'll get the 9.99 pack and then just be like, wee. That'd be 20 right there. So if I get the crate before gold crate, I pretty much knocked it out. So basically just going to farm the shit out of Datacron materials. So yeah, right before 5v5 kicks off. So we'll have a lot of crons. I actually have a lot of crons. They weren't available from this first week of GAC. So we'll have more coming up here for this second round or the next round of GAC. So we got a lot on defense, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, GAC went fine. A couple counters. It was 2-3 battles we had ended up 2-shotting, mainly because we just didn't get the one shot. We killed characters, we just didn't get the one shot, and because I was trying something, a little different with it. And stuff happens with RNG. Datacron stuff happens. What are you gonna do? You go in there, you fight the fight, and you don't see what happens. Hey, what are you gonna do? So they win. If I win, great. Oh boy. So yeah. So get your questions in, get your comments in. We had some stuff out. We had the Stap come out this week. We had some other things happen this week. So yeah. Get your questions in, get your stuff in. See anything else here? No. All right. Yeah. Good. Well, fulfilling you. All right. Anything on while we're doing this? I'm just making sure everything's good in the game. Make sure you get your TB deployments in. I did a couple of battles. I was like, okay, just need to deploy. Winning. I like phase 5 and 6. It's just very elegant, straightforward. Don't they really dick around with it too much? Speaking of not dicking around with it too much, I think we have an invasion of the country of Carthaginius. Wait a minute.
What?
I
Invasion? Come
think
on.
it's Carthaginius. It is! Oh, we're being invaded by the land of Carthaginius. Look, everybody, it's a Welling Cannoneer. Har! Pardon me, Welling crew. Har!
Yes, har ye mayday.
Arr, that's right there, chat. He be Karth. Arr, he be trying to help you guys be filling up me pirate booty. Har.
Yeah, just
You sound like you
powering
just woke up.
through. Oh no, I've been up since 5-ish, 5:30.
Why
So
the
it's
hell are
been a
you
few
doing that on
hours.
a Saturday?
Because it's just once everyone's up, it's just easier to be up. That's basically how it shakes
Okay.
loose for me.
Okay. The idea of going back to sleep just didn't occur to you.
No, I didn't want to do
You know,
that because
snuggles with
it
the
sounded like
wife.
too much work.
You didn't want to get a little snuggles in. Okay, that's fine. You doing well though, Karth?
Oh, with the dogs in between, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah. You hung over, Karth. You sound like hell. A little drinky
Oh
last night.
no, not just still powering through. I got my Scribe wasn't able to do my GAC last night because he was having a rough go of things with his dentist appointment earlier that day.
Well, you can come join me on my streams at later and better for your time because I'll be doing it at 8:30, 9 o'clock my time.
Oh yeah, no, he just typically plays my streams and or
Plays your
my
account. Oh,
GACs
okay.
on Friday, and so he
I have
didn't have
no
time.
interest in that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's fair. That is 100% fair
Yeah. I have
because
enough on my fucking plate with what I'm dealing with. Oh my god. All right, pose it one more time. If you want to donate to the Shui Fund for the new video card, there it is. Every $7 equals a Shui. Har! Be filling up me pirate booty. Har! Make me willing cannoneer do some work and count me gold bullion in the booty chest. If that doesn't sound right. Good morning, contingent. Hello, my friend. It's good to see you. CobraCast has a question. You showed up at the perfect time, Karth. Says question, do you assume we are getting a cap ship this year? We will get 5 ships chases to go with it. Well, not 5. I think we get 2 to 3 on those chases. But yeah, I think it's still, I don't know if you've changed your opinion, but I still think it's Trench. They're Mr. Karth.
I mean, all signs point to Trench being the capital ship commander, with it being separatist themed this year, with it being he's the only admiral that doesn't have a ship in the game right now. It just seems like too many things are aligning for him not to have it. I mean, at CG, they do what they do best, which is, shenaniganry.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think it's gonna be a separatist ship. It makes the most sense for it to be Trench, and then for them just to put a couple of ships out to support it. Because I mean, we know the next conquest character is Lightside, so that carries us for March, April, and May.
Yep.
So the one that starts in June could be a ship, but that would be probably cutting it really close because you'd have the red box to have the ship.
Yeah.
For the separatist fleet. So probably the remaining separatist fleet is going to be just marquees if they do decide to push.
I mean, they've been doing all galactic chases, but they did 2 back-to-back pretty close with the Sith ships last year during the summer, right before.
Yeah, the Dagger and the Interceptor.
Yeah.
The Fury was the only one that was the conquest ship, but that's the only thing is like for me, I'm like, I can't. It would make sense for them to have a conquest ship with it, but if they do a conquest ship, it's going to be like right on the tail end of that release. It's going to be like, here's Red Crate. All right, here's the event. But I mean, it's CG. They might just do that because then it pushes you to play conquest because you don't have a choice.
You don't, and it's luckily this is my cache conquest where I don't give a fuck, Karth. I've already got 260 out of 330, so now I can just piss off. I'm gonna get my impulse detectors and other stuff, and I'm not even remote. I mean, it's all Datacron stuff. I get my 50 shards or whatever I need for Bane, and then just sit there on the treasure nodes every day. Once I've completed my mission, You fooled. If we do get Trench, says CobraCast, following up, and 2 to 3 chases, will Malevolence be out of commission? I don't think be out of commission. I think they'll probably add like a tri-fighter, stuff like that to that.
I think they'll add enough for both. Yeah. I think their plan is to build out the two. Well, basically add another separatist fleet. I think the idea will be is that they're going to build out the remaining GR fleets and then the other separatist fleet. So it's going to be going to be a ship heavier year, to be honest. But that makes a lot of sense because like everyone's anticipating more fleets in GAC and them changing stuff out. So a large part of their equation is just, you got to have density to make things make sense. So it's like if you want to change up the TW board and have more fleet zones, or change up the Kyber GAC by adding another fleet or changing how those things work, you just got to have a larger roster depth. So
yeah. So, look, everyone. Hello, Governor. Look at this. There's a good friend of Nev with his long ponytail and English chant. Look at him.
It's the silky English tones.
That's right. He's very posh English. He's not, fuck me, he's not from the streets. He's not a ruffian. He'd stay on the streets there.
No, I don't have any discernible regional English accent. It's very, very, yeah. My girls now they have regional accents.
What, Manchester, Liverpool, England?
No, it's a Scunthorpe accent.
Okay.
Don't worry. I'm finally getting them out here for a visit. So this year. So
that'll be nice.
Yeah. So I'll get them on. I'll get them on stream sometime.
That's right. They can say hi to Uncle Ranger.
Yeah, they're not. It's not like Mike Cunt's shouty
sweary daughter and dancing daughter.
Neither of them are sweary, so you don't need to worry.
Oh, good. Yes, good. Yeah.
But no, come on, it's so much fun.
I mean, curse words do sound better coming from someone with an English accent.
Well, a woman English accent is very sexy. A man, not so much. You just sound like a dick, so so yeah, it's very proper, and it's just, oh, fuck you. It's like, oh, thank you. You just told me to fuck off.
Yeah, it's just, we say things like bloody hell.
Yes.
You try and copy us.
You wanker.
Sounds awful. Yeah, you can't say wanker very well, or tosser.
Well, yeah, part of it's just how we pronounce words, but yeah.
And Cockwomb will forget about it. I mean, you guys can't even correctly enunciate or pronounce Worcestershire sauce. So
Worcestershire
Worcestershire sauce, and that's the way we say it in America, you son of a bitch.
I keep telling my wife that, but
it's Horshire.
She doesn't listen. Oh yeah, I got married.
Oh, well, just random fact about Nev that just happened. Jesus Christ.
Random fact.
Just randomly went out there and got goddamn married. I don't know. We were just chilling and we were going for a walk and just got married.
I was gonna say, like, is this a same woman or a new woman? Because that's the question. Did you go down to like Vegas and pick one out?
I know, right?
Go down to Texas,
get married, Elvis marry you guys. What?
There's plenty of options.
No, it wasn't. We were. What was it? We were actually sat down doing a jigsaw puzzle. We were doing a Star Wars jigsaw puzzle.
Of course, that's just tradition.
Cheesy, of course, it was Star Wars, as is tradition, and it's an OG one. It's original trilogy jigsaw puzzle, which makes it just so much more better. Yeah. From my mother-in-law, a Christmas gift from my mother-in-law,
Mumsy.
And I was just sat down there, and that episode of the Big Bang Theory we'd recently watched, where Penny and Leonard elope to Vegas.
That's right.
And I'm sat there, we're doing this jigsaw puzzle, and I just thought to myself, I like the idea, but do we really have to go all the way to Vegas? Can't we just go to the
Justice of the Peace? Yeah,
just that's what we did. so the same day we went. Same day we went and got a marriage license, and then the day after we went and got married.
Well, congratulations, and you're getting lots of congratulations in the chat. And Desi's like, "What?"
Yes.
Well, you've gone and done it, Nav. Just by the knot.
I mean, just I'm on a really really good. I'm just on a really really good roll at the moment.
That's right.
I'm 13-0 in 3v3
No,
GA.
don't jinx it, man.
13-0.
If you talk about it, it'll end. That's science.
Yeah, but you remember what was it? We were in 5v5, and you were like, "Careful, Icarus."
Careful, Icarus.
Yeah. So the middle. So I got promoted to Kyber 2, like halfway through 5v5, and got to the last week of 5v5, and I went 0-3. It just just the wall.
Oh,
it was like
you flew too close to the sun and melted your wax wings.
Didn't matter what tactics, what strategy. It was. I mean, I even thought I couldn't even get the consolation. So the person that had also lost round 1 and round 2 that fought against me was also like just it was painful. But then for some reason I'm bouncing back with 3. So three.
Well, people just don't give as much of a shit in 3s as they do 5s, right?
There's a lot. There's a lot to learn too, and then the counters change, and things don't work, and it's a new Datacron set, and it's a never-ending cycle of reasons to why things aren't playing out the same.
Yeah. But I'm actually what is it? The last round that I won, my opponent was just like, I think they had like 30 Datacrons to my 0, which and they had the boost layer ones, and I checked out on them, and it's like, okay, so you've got that, and you put that on defense, and you think that makes you unbeatable, and it's like it makes you unfull clearable to me. It doesn't make you unbeatable.
Yes.
So I literally dumped all 5 of my GLs in front of door number 2, put 5 weak teams just to force him to use 5 teams, and then on fleet I put my executor because he doesn't have profundity.
Oh.
So I knew that he was only I held him to 1 territory, and then I knew that he would put GL Ray down, and I've got a GL. I don't understand why people keep putting her down, because
trust me, you will when you climb up higher. She gets outrageous, brother. Trust me. He gets outrageous.
When you go back to using Datacron.
Yeah. No, I've beaten Relic 9 GL Rays with Ben Solo in the team.
Well, in 3s is a little different. In 5s, it's a whole nother.
The success. I mean,
and certain Datacrons like that have been out, Nev, trust me, you will run into a Datacron set on Ray that is just redonkulous.
I've only lost. My Palp Mara Starkiller team has only lost to a Ray in GAC once in the last 12 months.
Yeah,
that's across the board, 3v3 and 5v5. You will see. Careful,
you need to find a
Okay, I will concede that those last 12 months, obviously apart from the last month or so, the previous 11 months I was in Erodium. So yes, the GL Rays that I was facing in Erodium are probably not as GL-y in Erodium as they are in Kyber 2, which is where I'm.
Yeah, when you start getting into the Upper Kyber 2 into Kyber 1, dude, man, the Rays are obnoxious, dude. They are so obnoxious. They're just evil. Evil. So yeah, is it beatable? Absolutely. 5s is a little bit more difficult than 3s with Rays, just because you have more bullshit that you're dealing with in a 5v5 team with certain things. Like, you're starting to see more Cal Kestis and other bullshit with it that just, it's like, okay.
Where the hell is that event? I've been ready for 2 months. I've been ready for the Jedi Knight Cal Kestis event for 2 months now.
Listen, now we have to get Bo-Katan 4 more times before we get Jedi Cal.
That's
damn
ridiculous. That event.
We're on the outside edge of when we would expect it to return, right? We're closing in on that 120-day mark. So it's a little farther out than I thought by a couple of weeks, but realistically, we should see it in February. But again, you look at that, we're already a third of the way through February, so I'm not gonna bet the farm on it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they've done this before, like they did with Grand Inquisitor, where we went 6 months, and we're like, what's going on? And we didn't have any idea. And then what they were doing was being sneaky with it because they launched it right before the new, TB requirements. So they were trying to force the issue with spending. And that's why they didn't bring it back sooner, because they were trying to get people to, panic pay, as I like to call it. Hello, Jason Hobby says, word to the mothership. But this doesn't make sense because it's an ongoing TB. Why not bring Jedi Cal every 3 months so people can get him? I mean, had Bo every month. So, I mean, she's back this weekend. And I hope everybody gets her because she's amazing. I'm part of the 2%.
She amazeballs.
Oh my God. She absolutely wrecks, dude. She's so stupid good, dude. Oh my God.
Her durability is off the freaking charts, man.
Really is.
Inside of GAC, inside of with her armies active, she just were you attacking me? I honestly couldn't tell. You're like, you.
Well, it's like it's like Lord Vader. He goes first, and you're like, okay, hi, Maul.
Yeah, because I'm not working on GLs at the moment, and I like the idea of working on the characters that I need for Bo, rather than working on something
super disgusting.
Rather than working on on a GL. So yeah. The Calcastus thing is I'm looking forward to that because I've been told that he just makes JKL and JML teams like freaking awesome again.
Yeah, I mean, there are counters out there, Star Killer and now Bo and Afra when she has the right cron that you can use, which I prefer to do with those characters when I have it, because that means I can just use GLs in other places. So absolutely. But Bo is just disgusting, man. I mean, she just nukes Lord Vader. She can nuke a lot of teams. Let's just be real. She can nuke a lot of teams. I just like using against Lord Schmader because it's like, Lord Schmader, eat the dark saber.
Well, she Lord Vader's mechanics max out her mechanics, right? Because every time they're getting inflicted with a debuff, they're getting stacks of ancestral armor, whatever the stupid buff is called, I remember. And so you just max it out so fast, and then your true damage just carries you the rest of the way. I mean, even if the team falls apart, I'm fairly certain that once Bo hits 100 stacks, she can basically 1v5 the rest of the team.
That's right.
She just sits there and
just
punishes people.
It's just one-shotting. Maul's dead. Thrawn's dead. Vader, your turn. You're dead. Okay, I win. 57 banners.
I want that. I need that because I'm terrible against Lord Vader. I always end up having to double tap it,
Yes.
I hate having to use 2 teams. It sucks. I like just having 1 team.
Let's see here. What else in threes? Jedi Rules says, Range, I learned yesterday that Darth Revan is a counter for Bo-Katan, Mandalore. Well, yeah, because of the fear and everything like that. Yeah. What else in their question? Can we start calling Galactic Legends that from now on? GLE?
GLEs.
Yes.
It's very GLE.
Or Desi says GLA. GLA. No. All right. GLA. Hang them. All right. What else in 3 on the middle path and TB? I haven't had a member of Bo-Katan Mandalorian get to yellow health once. No, they're pretty gross in TB. Yeah. Pretty good. They're good. Yeah, they're really good. And then there is ridiculous. You could put the damn thing on auto and have fun. Kim Stevens says, good day, Skiers. Question. Jedi Calvin, when is it coming back? I'm so ready for it. So is a lot of people. Sorry, you just came right before we answered this question, but we'll answer it again. We still think this, mid-February on should see the Jedi Calvin coming back there. Karth, best guess around that 120 day mark.
Realistically, we're looking at sometime this month. That should be within the ballpark because it came last time I was out. It was Halloween. Early to mid-October.
No, it was Halloween.
So Halloween. Okay, so that's the end of October. Yeah. So that means November, December, January. There's 90 days right there. So I mean, somewhere between now and maybe early March would be my assumption.
Yes.
Which is about right. It's about par for the course for their schedule rotation. So if that's what they want to do, then that's fine with me.
Yes. Hello, Nathan H. This is Leather Screw Nation. Hello there. Jedi Rules says I blame Finn. Yeah, Finn sucks. We always blame Finn for everything around here. Stupid Finn. Hang him! The Daniel Morgan says CG has altered the deal. Pray that I do not further. Okay, I mean, if that's what you want to do. Yeah. Reminder, guys, trying to raise money for my new video card. If you want to see me do a morning shoey, as we like to say here on the Jedi Academy, go there, throw a Swevin in there. I'll drink some ugly ass Fosters for your entertainment. Are you not entertained? Oh, more questions. Here we go. Nathan H. question: what would you like to see in a new Star Wars mobile game? I don't want a new Star Wars mobile game. I want a Battlefront 2 fucking style game, man. I want to, give me something epic, man. I don't want another mobile game. It's collector games are fine, right? But there's limitations. I'm playing the new One Punch Man game, and it's awesome, and I love it. But it's got limitations. It's just it's limited. I don't know. I don't want a mobile game.
Web 3.
What's that?
I wouldn't mind seeing a Web 3 Star Wars game.
Whatever it is, just not mobile game. Because I don't know if I have the stomach to do another mobile game like Star Wars Galaxy here.
No, I'd like something new, something fresh. Something new and something fresh would be yeah. Like the good old LucasArts days, back in the,
we had some
the 90s
games,
and the 90s and the noughties. I mean, there was some, obviously, not every single game was a banger.
No, but it was just,
everybody
we were so craving.
Oh, yeah.
God.
We were sport for choice.
I mean, there's just so many
for options. Yeah,
we haven't had a really good new Star Wars. I mean, Jedi Fallen Survivors or Survivor Falling. I mean, that's a great game, and I like that for the console. Those kind of RPG kind of games are really, really good, right? But I mean, just an all-encompassing game where we can just have fun with the characters and whatever it is, right? I don't want a mobile game. I want something that I can really sink my teeth in and play. Something Battlefront style or Army style, where you can use your different forces and characters and stuff. Something that's just really epic. An MMORPG would be really good. But those have kind of gone the way of the dodo here of late. But something like Baldur's Gate would be really cool, just something along those lines. That we just need something. But if another Star Wars mobile game came out, I don't know how, unless it blew me away. You never want to say never, but I just, oh God, it's like, Jesus Christ, not again.
What about something old school?
Like what?
Like how the format for RPGs were on consoles like the Game Boy Advance and the DS. That Golden Sun Final Fantasy type of format. How about I would
love a Final Fantasy kind of style Star Wars game. Are you kidding me? Holy shit.
A Final Fantasy type. Yeah, something
I would totally cream my shorts. I would do it. I would just totally blow.
So it wouldn't be online. It would be a standalone. It would be a standalone RPG game. Like those old school games. But those old school RPGs that were on the Game Boy Advance would take hundreds of hours to complete. And hundreds of hours of exploring because of all of the hidden. I mean, if you've ever looked at a walkthrough for the Golden Sun and Golden Sun 2 on the Game Boy Advance, or the Shining the Holy Ark on the Sega Saturn. These games, they literally take hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay in order to complete. It's nuts, but it's great value, So something like that, an old school format with, a Star Wars tinge to it. I think something like that would be fun.
All right, to press swap a question. I'm following your Paz modding, Karth. I was wondering why you went health and potency when most do often said. I did the same thing. Karth, please explain to our good friends with lots of protection and potency and everything. Karth. Oh, Karth.
I mean, in all of the play I've done with Paz, I don't understand why people give a shit about offense. It's a one-trick pony. It's all about his final stand. And it's the same thing with Reva, right? It's like, you get one turn with that Omicron to be really cool, and then it all goes to hell. It's like, I'd rather him take as many punches as possible before he falls, but then the potency part of it is that all of his debuffs are resistible. So or most of them are.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
you have to factor in that part of things as well.
It works really well for me. I mean, I've got the same modding, so tons of health, tons of protection, tons of potency. You know, and it works. I don't know. I mean, we talked about that a while ago. Like, how do we really want to do Paz? And we start seeing everybody doing offense. It's like, why are they doing that?
Well, it's like modding Reva for offense too. It's like I get the idea to a degree, and I don't even know if I still have an offensive modded or not. But it's just like it's a one trick pony. It does its thing, and then it's over. So what else do you want to do about it? It's just gonna be its thing. So
yeah. Continue says Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out in 19 days. Damn it, it's out now. Very nice. Nathan H. A game starring Cup and Lobot is not the game we want, but the game we need. That's wrong. Shame on you. Cowboy, how about a Mando game in the style of The Witcher where he travels the universe taking on different tasks along with his main task? Yes! I would play the shit out of that game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know?
There's so much artistic
so much you can
do with
a
game like
man.
that. You know, there's you've got all the various different types of planets. You've got all the various different types of alien life forms.
Well, that's what Outlaw is supposed to do, right?
I know, but I'm just not getting into.
Don't get me started on Disney announcing shit. It's meaningless.
Well, it's not meaningless. That game's coming out this year.
I know, but it's like
they've been saying the same thing with Star Wars Hunters for like the last 2
I know,
years.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a mobile game, man. Like there's those ones you can turn off and on fairly easily because if there's interest in there's no money to be made. The whole thing is about getting people to spend constantly in the game. It's like, so if those mechanics don't exist, that's in their can of worms compared to what we have with
Outlaws.
Outlaws, which is, it's a huge studio that's doing, I think it's a Ubisoft game, right? So and they put a release date for this year, I think at some point. So I can't imagine them backing that'd be a huge setback for them if they did.
Ubosh says an RTS Warhammer type Star Wars game would be crazy. I would love that. Warhammer meets Star Wars. Gimme. Question from Nathaniel Morgan. Question: speaking of Reva, will CG ever fix her 9? Or like 9?
No. They unless it becomes pertinent for something, I don't see them ever touching it. And probably because the reason is the only way that they could do it is by mass refunding, like putting everyone's character back to 7 stars, Gear 1, Relic 1, 0, all that kind of stuff. Like that's the only way I see them doing it. And even that's good luck.
Jedi Roll says, Ranger, how about the Force Unleashed 3? Nah, Starkiller's story's been done. It's been wrapped up nicely in a bow, and they did 1 and 2. And
I mean,
you could, but I
agree.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'd like to see Starkiller as a character in some form of capacity because of the great Sam Witwer and all the great voice acting that he's done. If they could somehow bring his character into the Star Wars universe, holy shit.
Well, yeah, there's no way they can really bring there's no way they can really bring Starkiller from the game.
No, it'd be a different version, but I mean
universe, because they could still bring the same idea, but the power levels would have to be different, somewhat explained or different, because otherwise this is like everything he does would just be like he would be a one-man wrecking crew against like whatever you let him loose on. I mean, but the thing is now is that they've done a pretty good job with eradicating parts of his story, because like in Force Unleashed 2, you go to Camino to the cloning facility. Yep. Well, that cloning facility is gone.
It has ceased to be
because of Bad Batch. So
here's the thing. It's actually quite frustrating as a fan of literary Star Wars and gaming Star Wars, is this constant need to everything that they make has to follow the Disney timeline. It's like DC doesn't do that. DC does animated Warner Brothers do DC animated
yeah
content all the time, and sometimes it's
nothing to do with
freaking awesome. The Killing Joke,
oh
Red
my god,
Sun,
it's great.
The Killing Joke and Red Sun are just incredible. But it's like they're not thinking, oh god, this doesn't fit in with the timeline that we've created within the DC. But you could do an animated Force Unleashed and then an animated Force Unleashed.
Yeah, let's go anime
and
style
Star
with it
Wars
too,
fans
man.
would be like, Star Wars fans would watch it and then pick up extra fans from around it.
I'll tell you what, man, if they did a Jujutsu Kaisen style anime with Star Wars, I would watch the shit out of that. Are you kidding me? If they did Star Killer in that form, you bet your ass I'd be all over that.
Yeah. The story is there. It's right there. All they have to do is take that story and make it an animated feature. DC does it all the time to great success.
It makes a killing off those things, man. Jesus, they make a fortune off those animated shows because they do such a great job with it, you know. And it gets into different parts of the universe and different story arcs, and it's so good, man. It's if you've not seen some of the DC animated shit, oh my god, it's unbelievable.
Every time there are earnings calls, every time there's earnings calls like those Disney earnings calls, I read the news on them, and I watch, I get Cliff Notes, I get TLD, I watch podcasts on it. If I was a shareholder, I would be at those earning calls constantly going, excuse me, Lucasfilm is a bloody arm of Disney. Why are you not making a killing right now? Because you have the rights to all of this Star Wars content. Why aren't you doing the exact same thing that DC is doing with things like The Killing Joke and Red Sun? Why are you not making animated features for stories and properties you already bloody own that you know Star Wars fans are gonna?
Nev serious, he's using bloody a lot.
It just blows my mind.
That blows my mind away too.
I really hope that Elon Musk and the other guy that are
they actually buy out Twitter or Disney, yeah.
But I really do hope that they gain, because it's as long as they get enough shares, they can take control of the board.
Good luck.
If they take control of Disney's board, then
I really don't want Elon. He's got enough shit, man. It just God damn, you can't own everything, Elon. Piss off. Now, someone else wants to buy Disney, fine, but god damn it, man. Quit monopolizing shit. Nathan, actually, Them Bones has joined us in the chat. Says, what's up, fellas? Hey, what's going on? Cowboy One is also in the chat. Glad to have you guys here. Nathan H. question, which Star Wars Galaxy heroes would be which SWGOH character you mean would be most powerful if they had their power level as in the Star Wars universe? I think the Sith Triumph would be crazy strong. Not as strong as Darth Revan. Sorry.
Yeah, it's really sad that Revan came in as a legend. Well, they were legendary characters, but in the time frame in which he released, like that would have been an ideal Galactic Legend. And
well, we get true Revan,
some form of that.
Yeah, we get Revan, Dark Revan or Revan Reborn.
Darth Revan, Jedi Knight Revan and Darth Revan when they came out. I mean, I remember, if you
interviewed Carrie, she said it was in the works, and we stopped it. I was like, ah.
GAC, if you came up against somebody that had both of those and you had neither, you were screwed. They were like the boss during GAC version 1. It was nuts.
Yeah, but that was also how CG was doing their power meta at the time, right? Because every new meta they released was designed to counter the previous meta. So CLS was countered by Traya was countered by Jedi Knight Revan, Jedi Knight Revan was countered by Darth Revan, and then Gas countered DR.
Baby so that Jesus was their meta
up until Galactic Legends. Then Galactic Legends kind of started sitting at this point of like, okay, well, we dominate everything, and then now they just go, okay, well, we'll release, a new team or a new triple omni character, and then that'll carry a team to being able to compete with GLs in certain environments, and then they just kind of go back and forth on that. But
we got Linky in the chat. It's Linky. It's fun for a girl and a boy. Jedi Rules has a question for you, Karth. It says, question for Karth: did you get the new character, the Stap? Yeah. And how does he like it?
5 stars, and it's gonna sit there until probably till it goes farmable.
Yeah.
It's a fun character. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun, but like it's the problem with a lot of the stuff that CG's been developing lately, and problem is relative to like for me, right, is that it works well in specific environments, but the kits are so complicated that the AI plays it like utter trash. So we know for a fact that the Stap will not use the overcharge mechanic, the second special first, which gives it tons of speed and everything else because the other ability has a longer cooldown. So it's like you can then easily just walk over it with Bad Batch like half the time if you got a reasonably fast echo. So it's like, all right, so it doesn't change the counter.
Gas destroys it. You know, it's like, oh
yeah. So it's like it's just one of these things where it's like, you know, I get it, but it's like it's CG keeps dumping out teams that have specific offensive viability, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But when you're at my end of the stick, I'm like, it'd be really cool if we had something that had some sort of defensive viability.
That would be nice.
Because you guys keep throwing that out the window. I mean, and there are things that do exist, but a lot of it's just because of Datacrons is if it's going to be good or not. But it's like if your opponent has Bo right now, you're not putting Lord Vader on defense because I mean she'll just manhandle the team into the floor with her Datacron.
Yeah, I still put on defense because I'm like, yeah, you use both on that. Then I'll put some other teams and you have to deal with those without.
I mean, in 5v5, honestly, if without the Datacron, I still wouldn't mind people using Bo versus Lord Vader because it's not very efficient.
No, that's a little different. But in threes, Jesus.
Yeah, in threes, it's not. It is, yeah, whatever.
It's nuts. It's really nuts. But then Bo, you can use Bo, you can go a lot of different places. It's like, God almighty, she's so gross.
My favorite threes team for the Mandalorians right now is the Armor with Paz and IG-12. The team is just stupid thick, man, because you have two massively giant health pool characters, and then you're doubling down on some shenanigans because we're getting the protection up level 3 on the Kron, but the armor grants all Mandalorian allies to start the battle 200% bonus protection. And so it's like when you have a character that's got 100 plus K health pool, so then you're doubling that and adding it to it. So you're basically going to have like 400 or 500K worth of points to chew through just to put them down the first time. It's like it's just nasty. And then when you finally get them into the health, they gain 50% protection up at 90, 75, and 40% health. And so it's like it just becomes a massive timeout risk. I'm actually really excited to see how it plays out because those last few rounds, both opponents have dropped a lot on that team. But I also had the Paz Kron too, so that adds a little chaos to the mix too. But yeah, it's fun.
Okay, Kim Stevens says, question from my dad. Hello, the Faja. Through her is saying what are the best territory war Omicrons? Oh, this is a good question. Caveat.
Best is relative.
Yeah, because how focused are you in TW as a guild, right? If you are more focused, it's a guild thing. But in general, I would say some of the ones that just off the top of my head, right? As kids. Karth, you correct me if you think Nev, you too. Well, I don't know how much you're involved with TW, Nev, but the Mary J. The Mary J one is phenomenally good with the Star Killer team along with Juhani.
Right? Yeah, you got to pair them together, but yeah,
that makes the Star Killer team just ridiculous, right?
Basically works like it does inside of GAC with a couple extra steps, which is good.
Yeah. Then you start getting into, it depends. Like, don't get me wrong, the TW Omicrons, if you're using them, like Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, phenomenal. But you only use it in there. It's really bloody good. His Omicrons in TW are really, really good. What are some Omicrons? I did one on Fulcrum that has really been...
Fulcrum, like we're getting into ones where it's like it feels like pairs kind of do really well. Like Kelleran and Mace is now like a really obnoxious, really powerful team that a lot of people are just dumping GLs on the counters. Seer with Fulcrum Ami and Cal Ami, which Cal Omni, I feel like is kind of a joke because it's just activates fulcrums. But I mean, that's a good duo to have. If you want to get down to
one on Grand Inquisitor for Reva and the Inquisitors is really good.
Yeah, for the instant defeat, it limits the counters they can take because, like, even if you try to use Phoenix, you can't take Kanan because odds are Kanan will get one shot. You can't take Ezra because odds are he gets one shot. So it's like, it's not, you can do it with other things, but it's just, it can catch people off guard. But like when you get down to like single TW Omnis that have a large amount of impact, you know, like the Droideka Omni is really powerful and obnoxious for a lot of players in the mid to early game. Same with Poggle. They're just they change the dynamics of the team enough to change how you have to approach it. But I mean, a lot of the TW Omni is like, you know, like Trench is Omni, unless the Separatists get some more support for him. I can't see his worth being investing into. It might change a little bit now that we'll get Darth Bane and Watt can now go live with Trench like he was supposed to.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon still does a lot of work without his Omicrons, which is, you know, fantastic.
I mean, you have some
Grand Inquisitor, once you get Reva, is kind of useless for TW Omnis. Every single Inquisitor TW Omni is pretty much not worth it, viable for any end game player. You know, if you're early mid game player, you're still seeing Revens on your TW board, then yeah, you'd be all right. But for a lot of people, it's not really worth it.
There's some in the past, like Phasma and some other things. They're fine. I mean, it's not anything.
Phasma's still good. What she can punch through is so Datacron dependent now.
Yeah.
Because there are so many mechanics that just ruin, like the doubt mechanic. Phasma can't fight anything with the doubt mechanic for this current set because once that starts popping doubt, they can't gain turn meter. If they can't gain turn meter, the whole shtick falls apart. So it's a lot of things like that where they're just like some TW Omicrons are good all the time, and some of them are only good some of the time. But I would say like my top picks would be Kelleran and Mace, Mara and Juhani, and then I would probably, depending on where you need to oomph the power a little higher. I'm trying to see which one it is. I like Tarful and Sana, but they're just, Sana's a kind of fun one to have, but they're more the niche. Yeah, they're more niche. You got to have the rest of the team built up for it. I'm just trying to look through what I've got.
Yeah, I've got a few.
I would say probably the last one would be like DDK. Those five.
Yeah, Droidicos, that one can be annoying. Yeah, it limits
for the non triple Omni characters. The triple Omni characters are always a back and forth on what's best win kind of thing.
All right, Cowboy, glad to have you here. He says, hit that thumbs up. Hell yeah. Says, smash that button, folks. Support our small YouTubers. That's right. Well, we're not small, but we're not big either. You're welcome, Kim. So this is fantastic info. Thank you guys. Absolutely. It's what we do here. So yeah, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you leave comments, all that stuff. If you'd like to see me do a Shuey, you see that the stream elements is actually working. I'm surprised. I've been having so many issues with the goddamn thing. Hit that if you'd like to toss a coin to your Ranger and help me get my new video card, then please do. And every Swevin makes equals breakfast Shueys. So far I haven't had to do any breakfast Shueys, thank God. It goes in cycles. You guys are very quiet, and then all of a sudden I get slammed, and then I'm drinking so many shoeys, it's coming out of my ear holes. So there you go. Jack Daniels, glad to see you here. Thanks for the support there, Cowboy 1. All right, next question. Wolfell. The Wolfell says, question. CG has been silent and somewhat deceptive about the bow pack issue from December. It should take over a month to resolve this issue. Didn't they just start sending that out?
No, they mistakenly sent out a make good for it, and it went to the wrong people.
Oh no!
Because I went to iOS, who were people who benefited from the mistake, and not the. So the reason why it's taking so long, the short answer is is because they do not know for about a month to 6 weeks who legitimately purchased that pack and who refunded it.
Yes.
Because people do that.
Yes, they do.
So what they're doing is they're waiting for the data to resolve so that they know who legitimately purchased the pack and needs the compensation, and basically tell everybody else who was like, oh, well, I bought it and I found it was the wrong price, but I refunded it. So, but you still keep the stuff when you refund things in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're not, why am I going to send you a make good? Because you're already doubling down on the advantage of the pack. So usually when it comes to like pack reimbursement, it's not about finding out who bought the pack, it's who actually paid for it.
Right.
That ends up being the big thing for CG. So that's why it takes so long.
Really, the answer to this question is I blame Finn. What else? Any question? If you use IG 12 Paz with armor, what is your bow Mandalore team and how do you use her?
Oh, it's Bobo and Bam. Bobo Bam.
Bobo Bam.
Bobo Bam.
Bobo Bam.
Bobo Bam.
Bobo Bam.
Because I would love to split Bam into his own team, which I will do in fives, but I don't love the idea. I don't love the idea for threes because it's so hard to get those whistling birds in threes with only 2 characters. So it's like you have to cannibalize another team to make it work. And I'm like, nah, I don't really want that. So the reason why I do Bobo is because OG Bo is a scoundrel, so I can DI off of her and trigger my whistling birds off of her if I need to. So it gives me an opportunity to get that kind of stuff. Because I mean, the only weak characters in the entirety of the fight are Bam and Bo, and then Mandalore Bo just carries everything. She just needs enough headspace to get going. But the other, like Bam's a high enough priority that they usually try to target him.
All right. Let's see here. Next question from Jedi Rules question. Ranger, when are we getting characters from the Ahsoka like Jedi, Sabine, and New Ezra? Probably another, not till the holidays. It's usually 6 to 9 months at the earliest that we get characters like that, and it has to be in the. I mean, this spring is and into summer is going to be with both the fleets and other stuff is going to be episode 1. It's the 25th anniversary. You got May the 4th coming up, and Revenge of the 5th, and stuff like that coming up, and they're going to have a theme on that. Fall will be GL, but I can see them in the. You never know, right? Just looking at their trends and stuff. You think about Ahsoka came out last year. It's been around that time. You never know. They could start introducing characters for something in the future, but I don't think we're getting anything till the holiday season for Ahsoka. What do you guys think?
Gone are the Rogue One days, unfortunately. You know, where because obviously all the Rogue One characters we got because of that one movie. I remember that thinking, oh, this would be awesome.
Yeah.
But they haven't really replicated that. It'd be nice if they were, you know, having a bunch of characters like released steadily over a period of a month or so, as a result of, you know, new Disney content. But that they seem to have like brought it to a drip, really, you know, a handful from the Mandalorian, maybe a couple of reworks, skin wise. I mean, they redid Thrawn to Ahsoka, didn't they? They redid the skin for, you know, in game.
Yeah,
the Thrawn is now the Thrawn from Ahsoka, so it's not, we're not gonna get a Thrawn from Ahsoka because they've just changed the skin.
Yeah. Now I do see Morgan Elsbeth and some of the Night Sisters going into the Night Sister faction. We could see. I mean, they upgraded Sabine, so we're not going to get a new Sabine. Now, Ezra's interesting because it's older Ezra. They might introduce a new Ezra. But no, we'll see what happens. But if they do, that's when I think the timeline's going to.
I could see a not Galactic Legend Ezra. I could see like a legendary Ezra. They could throw in like, you know, a couple of the answer that isn't. I've not watched Ahsoka, but there's a couple of characters that I assume Sabine had and Ahsoka had to meet up with in order to go find Ezra. They could bring those in as marquees that you've got to get, and then the reward is, you know, a
there's a new Ahsoka,
plays through
Ahsoka
the
the
episode.
White. So yeah, we'll see. If I had a guess, that's what I would think of. Ramon the Mad. This question: a 1v1 knockout round style bounty hunter competition, which bounty hunter would come out on top? Bounty hunters from all timelines.
God, I've seen that before. If you take each one of their prime, I would almost wager that Cad Bane would be the one that wins.
I remember Marjay was a smuggler. She wasn't a bounty hunter.
No, she wasn't a bounty hunter. No.
Now, Jaina Solo was trained as a Mandalorian, but I don't think she was ever a bounty hunter.
No, she was never a bounty hunter.
Because I'd pick her in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me? A Mandalorian Jedi? Yeah, fuck you.
You don't want to do Asajj?
I'm thinking Asajj.
Ventress was a bounty hunter.
She was a bounty hunter, and she's nasty.
I'm gonna remain true to Boba Fett.
Yeah, him and Fennec are top my list. Asajj would definitely be top of the list.
I mean, I would just take it from what I saw in Clone Wars because Cad Bane.
He was fighting both Kenobi and oh my god, he was just hopping around hippity hoppity bippity boppity boo.
But when Kenobi goes undercover for the mission to assassinate Palpatine, that the competition is the bounty hunters fighting against each other to a degree to be successful, and he's one of the ones that comes through with flying colors.
I know the answer.
You know, does some of the craziest stunts in the entire thing, you know, like rescuing somebody from Republic prison on Coruscant.
Nope, that's the wrong answer. The correct answer is my bounty hunter character from Star Wars The Old Republic, because not only did I win the Great Hunt, but I killed a ton of people with him. So, yes. And I forgot what I named him. Yeah. Boba Fett's a good choice. Fennec's a good choice. I like the Asajj choice. She's pretty potent, and she's coming back. She's coming back. I want to see how they're going to do this. So it'll be interesting. Good morning, Big D6. That's right. It's Big D, and it's the number 6. There you go. Nathaniel Morgan just wants to say there are no bugs in SWGOH to you. Let's see here. Big D6 question. I unlocked GL Leia this week and made it up to Relic 7. Suggestions on how to use her best and with what teams? The answer is a lot. On offense, she's ridiculous. Defensive wise, now that the Drogon Kron is gone, I still put her down there because I want to forcing them to use like a Jabba or a GMK on that is pretty nice, right? But offensively, I mean, she
smokes a lot of things. She's usually pretty tanky.
Yeah. Because you're not doing the stupid things that the AI does when you're playing her, right? So even with Jabba, with the Kron that they have, you're targeting, ignoring taunt and going after like, you know, Bosch, and you're just like, nah, Leia, you chill. The other version of me, you chill the hell out with that crap. Honestly, in 3s, I have her on defense, mainly to force just using Jabba there, right? She's not that great on defense because without the Kron, there are counters to her. But on offense,
well, because Reva comes back to being, and especially 5v5, like Reva comes back to being a viable option. Reva's just a train wreck in 3s because it's so easy for them to ignore time and you don't have enough turns to cycle to eliminate like Drogon quickly, and so it's like, all right, well, eat it in the shorts, cool. But yeah, in 3s, she is defensively viable still, but she just has very specific counters, and that's kind of what a lot of people like about putting her on defense, is because you have to use a specific counter against her in order to win. A lot of GL struggle against her, so it's a nice trade-off to have them be forced into focusing that. Offensively, she does handily deal with a lot of the annoying teams, you know, like every Lord Vader comp she can kind of walk over, and she can deal with JMK, and a lot of people use Leia to beat Rey right now, which I find interesting. But That's a pretty common one. So there's a lot of ways to use her. As for best team, it's like Drogon R2 is the dead giveaways,
I've been seeing splitting up with that though. I've been seeing Kanan and R2 with Leia, and then moving Drogon over to CLS with
that made sense during the Drogon.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense now.
I don't think it makes sense now because Drogon's not nearly as much of a threat. Han Chewie can deal with a Drogon team pretty handily,
which is what we did yesterday. I was like, get that shit out of here. Actually, I think I used Inquisitors and ate that team alive. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, because you just get your bonus turn. You can probably use Afra to get the same result.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how it shakes loose in the long run of things. And so it's like, all right, well, guess we're just gonna not use that team setup anymore. So in fives, the fourth and the fifth that I would feel most inclined towards is I like Old Ben there just because Old Ben is a good solid tank for the team. He has a lot of mechanics that you can utilize under him. The other thing is typically then you need some form of pre-taunting tank, or you need to take a very high damage dealer that has some support mechanics with it.
Yeah.
Right now I'm running with Lando, but that's because Lando has a Kron and it's Rebel Fighter, and so I just kind of shuffle more Rebel Fighters under Leia because of the Kron and where things are set up right now. But I feel like her fifth will always be in fluctuation to what you're trying to deal with.
Yeah, I always use Baze on that team for defense because it's just it's a pre-taunting tank.
A lot of pre-taunting tanks are really strong.
Yeah,
and he's got a ton of anti-Empire mechanics that makes it much harder for Lord Vader to do anything. So there's a lot of pros to using that setup.
Yeah, so. Answer your questions, and you do want to take her to Relic 9. She's a tank and she gets all the benefits of Relic 9. Her JML are two GLs that we always say you got to get into Relic 9. There is a vast difference in those two characters at Relic 9 than say Relic 7 and 8. Certain GLs, as we've talked about before, just get that bonus better. All GLs benefit, don't get me wrong, but there's a vast difference between C's Relic 9 and JML and Leia's Relic. Vast difference.
Well, so because the main reason why for those particular things, right, is because Leia's all deals damage based off her max health. So pushing her relic level up higher benefits from the health she gains from going to that higher relic level, as well as her GL unique that gives her another 10% max health and protection for every relic level that she's got. So that's a double down. JML, it's because of his leadership, the inherited teachings. It deals damage based off his max protection. So when you go to Relic 9, that adds 20K. So if you got about 100% protection on there, you're adding 40K protection to the character. He goes from 110 to 150 and then just absolutely starts smoking fools. So characters like that, there are GLs that benefit much more from higher relics than others do. But the way a lot of the GLs run nowadays is that it's all about just pushing up higher and higher because they play so heavily into mastery.
Yeah, I mean, Rey's another example. We did Relic 9 on her, and I mean, it's like a rocket.
Well, because they changed her kit too.
Her mechanic too.
Yeah, they changed her whirlwind mechanic to scale off of her relic level as well.
Yeah.
So you're dealing more damage with that, and then she just her being tankier is good too because that lifeblood is such a obnoxious mechanic with just spreading that much bonus protection to everybody.
Yeah. Nathaniel Moore says Leia's fine at 8. She's fine, but there's a vast big difference between Leia at 8 and 9 and JML at 8 and 9. I mean, it just is. Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not going to be in Kyber 2 or Kyber 1,
then you don't need to worry about it.
Then don't need to worry about it.
So you can still do good work at Relic 8, but I'm just saying, man, the difference I've noticed with those three characters is just ridiculous. It just is. They hit harder. They do more stuff. They're just more tankier. They just do more damage. It's obnoxious. Rey at 9 with a JTR at Relic 9. Oh my god, it's so brutal. So stupid.
I'm really hoping. Well, Scribe's got this. He's got a 75% deflection cron for his Rey team. Oh. And I'm like, dude, if you do not take your JTR to Relic 9 while she's got this active, like you are missing out because at Relic 9, that means JTR cannot be hit with special damage unless they take special accuracy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah,
Mara cannot do anything to her the entire fight.
Yeah. All right. Nathan H. question. How do players with limited time handle complex SWGOH, how complex SWGOH has become? I miss parts of the game, but don't have much time. For me, it's just time management, right? It's like I set aside, that's a little bit different for me, but like on the times that I'm not streaming, when I'm doing SWGOH, I mean, I'll let these two speak on it. Once in the morning, I check, with TB or raid, or if I haven't done anything, I set aside a certain amount of time to go knock out my morning, stuff that I do, on the days I'm not streaming. When I'm streaming, I just do everything on stream. So it's different. And a lot of time I'm not even doing anything in the game. I'm just sitting there because there's not a lot to do. I'm just sitting there talking with you guys, answering questions, things of that nature. Right. And there's certain days that it's just chaos, right? Mondays with that, end of GAC, start a conquest, you got TB and raids going on. It could be overwhelming. But I log in once in the morning, do my stuff real quick, dock out dailies, do whatever I need for the guild and TB. And then once in the evening, get that extra energy, finish up my fleet, and then I'm done. I don't touch the game in between. I'm not sitting there all day on SWGOH or, in certain days I'll spend a little bit more time because you have stuff like conquest, things of that nature that you have to do. So for a week like this, I'm really not spending a lot of time in the game, and I save all my stuff for stream. So I have something to do while we're streaming. But like, when conquest comes around and you've got TB and you've got the raid, I'll set aside certain times, to do that, but it's just time management and just realizing like, when are you going to do something and set aside the time. But I don't know about YouTube, but I'm not constantly logged in the game all day. I got log in, I check, and then in the evening I log in and I check. Because really, once you get your dailies done and the stuff that you need to do for that time period, then you're good. Because once you've done everything you need to do, it's like, okay, I'm done. So now maybe you don't have that certain amount of time. I don't know best way to answer that.
I don't.
Yeah, Karth, what's your answer to this?
I mean, the short answer for me is that like it comes down to you need to somewhat figure out how much time you need to do certain things, and then that helps you budget where you need to go. But the other thing too is you need to be looking at guilds that meet your play standards. So it's like for like where our guild is right now. Like there is no obligation to play TW. So if I don't want to play on both accounts for TW, I can sit out of it. I don't need to. Our TB is to the point where it's pretty much half the guild just has to deploy and maybe the other half has to do 1 or 2 CMs. And so it's like, I don't have to even worry about, besides filling platoons, doing anything in TB at the moment. So that helps with some of that. The raids and their can of worms, it's an unfortunate, I wish that they would have locked it to a 7-day timer, because then, it takes away 1 raid a week or a month, but then you can set your raid time to be more consistent because now it crawls in encroaching 1-day increments. So sometimes it's not going to be very, helpful for some players because it's in the middle of your week or whatever else. But the raid, you just got to pick it, once it goes live, pick a day to knock it out. It only takes about half hour to do all 8 runs. So it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Conquest is just another bear. It's it needs to be played consistently, but it doesn't need to be played a lot. And the higher you get up, the easier that becomes because you just have more roster depth to get away with.
Yeah,
smashing GLs against the wall until you're through your 50s or even 100s, and then you're done. You just come back the next day and wrap up. But with those ones, it's really just kind of getting the mindset of what are you there to work on those days. I think a lot of people get tied up on trying to multitask through Conquest because they want to be done with it sooner. And it's like, yeah, but if you just clear Conquest and then you come back and start looking at which feats you have left to do, and you start clustering those feats, then you can spend a day knocking out a handful of feats and then it's just press auto, right? Like all the feats that have 14 battles with XYZ team, you can just go and press auto half the time on it if you have the right team that you can fight with it. So it's like it's tolerable. I wouldn't say it's always manageable because when you start getting down into the people who are barely getting into like Conquest hard, like you're gonna struggle.
You're gonna struggle hard. You will be on the struggle bus. I mean, when you just don't have the teams in or the depth, it just, as we say, just do what you can, but don't stress about it, because you have to be realistic with your expectations of what you're going to be able to accomplish. I know we want to get the newest shiny and work on everything, but it takes time. And if you're a newer or mid-tier player, you have to be reasonable with what you can accomplish in Conquest. You can't look at somebody like me and Karth who have everything to go in there with, say, oh, I am comparing myself to that. You can't do that. You're just setting yourself up for failure. But yeah, I mean, also play the stuff that you want to play. I mean, if you're in a casual guild, then be casual, man. I mean, as long as you log in and you're focusing on what you want to focus in on, if getting the character for Conquest is important, then you got to commit the time. If it's not, and you just want to take instead of 3 months, 6 months, then be more casual with Conquest, right? Yeah, you won't have Darth Bane right away, but in 6 months you will. If you just get gold crate every time, depending on your level and stuff. So you can kind of offset the time. It's one of the biggest issues that we've had here in the last couple of years is that I don't think CG understands why people invest in this game. They invest for time, to get time back. They, your Krakens and your higher wells will invest because they don't want to farm shit. That's why they do what they do. They have the discretionary income. They're like, I'm not going to sit here and farm all this crap. I just want to have it and be done with it. And if they could get away, I mean, that's why you see them paying people to do their conquests and stuff like that. I mean, that's why that exists. Right? They don't have the time, nor do they want to spend the time. Certain things they'll spend time with, like GAC and other things, but they're not going to spend time with conquests and other shit. They're going to go in, do what they need to do, and be done. They like collecting the stuff and doing their battles and GAC and other things, but they're not sitting there like, oh, I want to spend an hour a day doing conquests. No, man, that's not what they pay for. They pay to spend, doing stuff that they enjoy and having that option. I just don't think CG is ever just, I don't know why CG thinks that the more time people spend in this game means they'll spend more money. I've never understood that philosophy, right?
I mean, it's just getting them to come back and take a look at things. I mean, but as much as it doesn't make sense, the numbers prove that it's the case. The more you focus people to engage in mobile games, the more likely they are to spend in said mobile game. The data supports that, which I mean, let it be what it is. But I do agree to a point. Like, you just have to figure out how far you want to push it. Like for me, it's like, if I don't want to do a GAC round, I don't do it. Yeah. Like, I just go, hey, I don't have the time. I don't want to make the time. I'm just going to go get my 10 banners and call it a day. Because it doesn't really matter besides pride if you win or lose in GAC. And it's like, I know some people are like, oh, I need but my crystals. I'm like, you're going to go 5 and 4. No matter what the hell happens, right? You can't stop that. CG has made it very difficult to do better than that. Every once in a while, you might get a 6-0 or 9-0, that it might happen, but it's not consistent. So it's like, who cares if you take an L for a week, Yeah,
I did it this past weekend. I'm like, I'll do the bare minimum. I'll lose these 2 matches, and there you go. I mean, it's like,
yeah.
Would the crystals be nice? Yes, but I'm doing MegaCon. I ain't got time for a fucking SWGOH game, man. I mean, I barely had time to get my dailies in. I'm like, I got other shit to do, like, what's it called? Life, so that thing that we all have to participate in. So, SWGOH should be in my opinion, SWGOH should be an escape. It should be something you do for entertainment and enjoyment. And if there's certain parts of that game, this game that are not hitting that for you, fuck it, don't do it. Why spend time forcing yourself to do something you don't like? I don't care if the game tries to make you do it or not. You have the autonomy to, to not, you have a choice. So, just be reasonable with your time. If you don't have a lot of time to commit to the game, then commit to the stuff in the game that you want to do. And then don't worry about the rest of the shit. The
Auto
game
is your friend.
Yes.
Auto is your friend. It's the biggest time killer, the auto.
I mean, yeah. So just think about what matters to you in this game. And if you do have the discretionary time then and you enjoy it, then by all means, it's entertainment. Go play and do stuff in the community and do that kind of stuff. I mean, that's valuable too. But if you don't, because of real life and things of that nature, set aside that time. It's like for me working out. I set aside certain times during the week in the morning that I'm going to go work out. And if I can't do it in the morning, I set aside for, I schedule it out. I'm going for this hour, I'm going to be at the gym. And then I plan the rest of my day. I got to do this at this time to go work out. Then I got to go stream from this time to this time roughly. And then after that, I got this stuff to do, and the game ain't a part of that. I am not sitting there going, well, I better get my swag away. No, it's like first thing in the morning, I drink some coffee, open the game, see what is necessary. Then I don't look at it till I stream. And then it's like, okay, I'll do some stuff there, but it doesn't take that long to do, doing some mod depression. So most of the time I spend with you guys, I'm not doing stuff in the game. Besides GAC, we're just talking about the game. I'm doing some of the events and then, conquest and talking about things. I'm mainly talking about the game. And then in the evening, I log in for a brief, I don't know, right before payout for fleet crystals, do my climb, knock out any other stuff I have, use the energy and be done with it. So it can be done. And don't let this game dictate your time. You dictate the time for the game, and that's the best advice I think we all can tell you. Let's see here. Question. So what Karth is saying is I should put my 85% deflection Datacron on Ray's team, even if the 3, 6, and 9 are dark side.
I mean, you need that level 3 for the light side. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that from you.
Yeah, I think the level 3. I mean, because level 6 is Mando or Rebel fighters, not really going to help you, and the level 9 is not going to help you either. But if you can get the level 3,
you could technically, in theory,
I mean, possibly put some of them
do Rebel fighters with Ray.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a thing you could technically do.
Bully. Robber. All right. Caleb. Hey, what's going on, Caleb? Says, hey, man, a couple weeks ago, I had bought the Hyperspeed bundle, but after that, I'm free to play. So I asked for advice on where to go. Good advice, brother. Hey, I'm glad it's working out for you, man. Keep asking your questions if you need something like that. Yeah. Link, he says, I'd pay someone to play my JC. That's right. Contingent's all about the time. I know he is, because he's like, I pay to get time back, not to sink more in. That's right. I'm sure there is a market for that too, Desi Jingles. Nerf. All right, keep your questions coming in. We're going to go a little bit while longer. If you'd like to help support the channel, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you'd like to help me out with fundraising for a new video card so I can expand and do some more games, there's a link. It's been in the chat. If you want to see me do a shoey, God almighty. If you want to see me do a shoey, then donate a Swevin. We got a ways to go. I think I did the math. It's like 70-something shoeys. Oh, God. So if you'd like to do that, feel free. And then just make sure you go Clink, and I will do the shoey live for you on Jedi Academy. But if you have a question, keep those coming in. Make sure you put the word question for the actual question statement. It just helps me identify questions easier, or comments or anything you want us to respond to. And there you go. Anything else? I don't think we're having D&D tonight. So, yeah, if we aren't, maybe I'll do some more One Punch Man for you guys. I'll see where I am at with that game. Anything else? Sunday's Super Bowl, so you won't see me streaming a damn thing. And then we'll be back Monday for more GAC. Currently, we full cleared last night. Our opponent's made 3 attacks and hasn't done anything since, so we'll see. Maximus Desmus Meridius 242 says, question, does anyone else feel the game is just on repeat, nothing to get excited for anymore? That's subjective. That's so subjective. Certain characters, like if Revan came into the game, you bet my nipples would get hard as hell and I'd be freaking out, right? Certain characters have that effect on us. I don't know about the game modes. The game modes themselves have not made me excited. But everybody's going to be different on that, right? kind of feel like I've been in a holding pattern, but I'm kind of end game, so it's different for me. If say you're mid tier, you have so much shit to farm and so much to do. It's going to be a different experience than say someone that's at me that I'm just like waiting for Bane. Then I'm gonna relic some more characters so I can just put auto on the raid. That's my plan, Karth. I'm sorry. I'm getting
I'm
8 teams of 3, and goddamn it, I'm not doing anything else. It's gonna be I'll hit auto, and whatever I get, I get. I do not give a shit on that raid. I don't know.
I hear you.
Nev, let's go to you because Karth's definitely end game. Nev, how are you feeling about the different stuff and to that question?
Well, I mean, I haven't been excited by the raids, but that's probably because of the restrictions that were put on the raid itself. You have to use these teams, you have to use these characters. I liked the idea. I thought that the new raid it was a good idea, but yeah, the restrictions that were put on the raid kind of made me think too many barriers to entry, especially with the first one. It's like, work on your Tuscans and work on your Jawas and work on this and that and the other, and
that and the fact that they just completely shithouse the entire investment in 7 months.
Yeah. And now, I'm glad I've only got one relic Jawa and I've only got one relic Tuscan, and I now that we've moved off that raid and we're onto the new one, I'm quite glad, because it's like, Christ, I'm glad that came when it did, because I could have potentially gone nuts on relics just on those teams, because I'd already done a bunch of other teams specifically for that raid, and then it's like, oh, okay, I try find uses for them in GAC, but the Conquest, I went back to Conquest, not because I wanted to, but because at the time I'm thinking, you know what, I've got like 5 GLs and I've got a boatload of really good teams. I want to see how quickly I can auto it, and that's the fun. That I make Conquest fun by, it's like, ooh, which team can auto this and which team can, because I just go in and auto. And for the first time, I made it all the way through all 5 sectors, just doing auto. So I kind of handle it like that.
I'll give an example of the differences. So playing the new One Punch Man game, the difference between that and Star Wars, and I agree, especially if you get to end game like me and Karth are. I'll let you speak on this, Karth. The difference is, it's a newer game, but what I like about the One Punch Man game is there's so much to do, but it's not very time consuming, right? Now, if you want to do more, of course you have to pay. They're going to try to make money and stuff like that. But if you just go in and do your normal stuff, there's a lot to do. But it's like, it's not time consuming. You go in, you go do all these events and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Then you're done. And then you say, I'll come back in 8 hours or whatever the next day. And then you can go knock it out again and have fun with all the characters and stuff. Yeah, you upgrade characters. It's a collection game and all this other things, but there's so many events in that game, but the events are not drawn out, right? I enjoy that aspect of One Punch Man. Now, Star Wars is different. We've had the same game modes. We have less game modes. So after a while, it gets stale. And, it's going to be a different experience for anybody that's newer, mid-tier, that hasn't had a chance to do some of these events or use certain characters. It does, but you reach a certain point of saturation, like me and Karth have, where it's like, all right, JC, same thing. Big Ben, kids, look, Big Ben, Parliament, here we go again, so so it's going to be different. Again, it's a very subjective question. Karth, if you want to answer this, go right ahead, Mr. Kraken.
I mean, it's just going to be where it is. Like, there's you either going to enjoy certain content or you're not. And if you don't enjoy it, which is fine, that's an okay strategy to have. You're not gonna be entertained by it, which is, again, that's completely fine. I don't understand why people get so, I have to enjoy everything about the game. It's like, well, you don't, because there's going to be parts of it that you're not going to like. Like, I go back and forth fairly consistently on how I feel about GAC, because it's just, some days it's a lot of fun for me, and other days it's an absolute grind to make myself sit down and, have to think through the process of winning. Like, it's very rare for me where I can go through a GAC now where it's not like, oh my God, I have to think about everything I'm doing. Every single fight has to be looked up and everything has to be done just to be able to, have a reasonable chance at success. And I just don't always have the energy for that. So it just depends on what you find interesting into the game, and then focusing on that. I know some people just love doing stuff for the raids. People just love doing stuff for TV, and they just skate by on everything else, and that's completely fine. I think for a lot of it is you just got to figure out what interests you, and then focusing on that. I mean, otherwise, yeah, we go from fluctuations of just like you could spend 5 hours a day on this phone game to you can't spend more than 30 minutes because you've done everything.
And it's also what you're enjoying. If you're enjoying something, you're going to spend more time doing it if you can, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's subjective. How does it make you feel? Do you enjoy it? I mean,
yeah, I mean, if I get kind of melancholy or lethargic about the game, I do something different. Like I think for 6 months, I was just a farmer for the guild. Like for the territory battle, certain characters required to be crappy characters required at Relic 5. For platoon. So I was like, I went into the list, spoke to the guild leader. Oh, just give me a list. Just give me a great big list of all the useless Relic 5s that you need, and I'll go do. So I did that for 6 months. I thought, I'll take a hit. I'll quite do something for the guild because wasn't very active in territory wars, and I'd missed a couple of waves in territory battles. So I thought, I'll make it up to the guild by being doing one of the worst, suckiest jobs, relicking Lobot, relicking you know what I'm talking about. Those crappy vibes. So
relegate hot soldier.
Yes. So I've already said
that's the good one, right? That's the good Hoth character to have, the soldier. That's what I hear.
So we're all on a promise. One of the things that we have to do this year is if you haven't gone for Inquisitors, once Reva has been unlocked by the rest of the guild, everybody, it's kind of like on a promise. Everyone in the guild has to then go for relic, doing the Inquisitors and get the Grand Inquisitor. I've been told the event's easier with Reva anyway.
Oh, by leaps and bounds, brother.
So I genuinely don't mind doing that for the guild because I earned no Reva shards. The guild earned it for me. I'm gonna unlock her.
Yeah, but you did all those shitty characters, so it's a trade.
Yeah, I did a bunch of shitty characters, but I don't have any qualms investing. I had no interest in it whatsoever, but it's it's a guild thing, and I think it'll be fun and interesting to do something different like that. It interjects a little bit of flavor into the game. You're doing this, and then after I did that, I thought, oh, let's go for another GL. Went for Jabba. Went for Profundity. Went for Jabba and went for Profundity. Those were the two biggies I went for last year, along with Malgus and Cam. And so I play little, but I keep it interesting, and I have fun with Conquest only because of the way that I play Conquest. Yeah, I find it fun to think, oh, can I get one more win with my JMK team at 40%? It's fun. I like doing that, and it was quite a warm, fuzzy feeling of achievement getting to the end of Sector 5 without having to participate in a single match other than putting in a squad and hitting auto, and knowing I've got a roster that can fully. I didn't go for any of the feats. I don't even think I made it. I finished everything to Sector 5. I did bugger all feats. I think I got the crate that's third from Red or something. I have no idea. So, but So it's fun. It's fun. Try and you can make that there's enough game modes you can make things fun. Try things.
All right. Here's another great question from Depressed Wampa. Question: I've been offered to be a guild officer. Do you guys recommend being an officer from your guys' experience? I've been a guild officer, and I can tell you I enjoyed being a guild officer, but one, you have to have that mentality of herding cats. But bless you. It's a time sink. Like if you've got the time and you enjoy leading others and accomplishing goals, things of that nature, it can be beneficial. However, depending on the level of what your guild's trying to accomplish and organizing, and sometimes you have to be the bad guy as an officer, right? It's Dark Side in the chat, and we're glad to see you here. Dark Side says it's basically second job. It very much is, and I just didn't have the time to commit to it. I don't mind recruiting for the guild and doing other stuff for him, but it's like I just don't have the time being a streamer and other things to commit to, being an officer and doing all that stuff. Some people do, and they enjoy it. And if that, I think it's it can be a good thing, but if you don't have the time and dealing with people and stuff like that, it's a bad thing. I'll let Karth, you are an officer right now. So if you want to give the pros and cons of this, feel free, my friend.
I mean, the thing when it comes to like being an officer or whatever else, it's just like you have to be able to either enjoy what you're doing or get out, because there's no middle ground when it comes to being an officer. Is that it's either you love it or you hate it. And so it's, if you don't think you're going to like it, or you don't think that's going to suit you, then I would just not recommend it for nothing, because I think it's a lot of extra toll on playing the game with very little net positive. Not that it can't have it, but it's a lot of extra for very little trade. And I think for a lot of players, it's a big ask.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of people, I just tell them, was like, if it's something that you're not gonna, and you think you're gonna enjoy, it's easier to step out before you become an officer than it is to step out after you already are an officer. So you need to make that decision as to which way you want to run it. And then from there, sort it out.
Yeah. Experiences are experiences, but you have to understand that once you go down that path, forever will it control your destiny. So, Karth the goat herder, yeah, he is. Question about the road ahead. When is it coming from Jedi Rules? Probably this week at the earliest, next week at the latest. For the next couple. I think that's where me and Karth were. I thought it might come a little bit early in February, but after Meathead made his thing saying that which link he brought up, that he had submitted the initial draft and all that stuff. So yeah, soon TM this month is the best guess, guys.
I would assume somewhere between the 14th and the 21st is my guess. I guess technically the 13th is when they would post it. So sometime between that time window would be my guess. I can't see them wanting to push it out too much further than that, because you get to a certain point with no direction, you start to lose interest in the game because people don't have anything to look forward to. It's like, it just doesn't become very exciting. So we know at a certain point, because the conquest starts not next week, but the week after. So that's the 19th.
Right.
That's the last one for Bane. So we know by, because that wraps up on the 4th. So we know by the early March, they're going to have a post for the next Road Ahead unit, or not the Road Ahead, but the Conquest unit, which is going to be kind of indicative of what's coming down the pike. So there's a lot of things that kind of go back and forth as to where to head. But it's going to likely be in the month of February. They push it out because they need to keep interest in what's going on. You look at what happens in games when you don't do that, aka the other one CG is helming right now. It's been almost
in a while,
almost a month, 2 months since they've made an official communication. I'm going to say official because the only thing that they've posted so far is a Twitter post on that they had an update coming early January, which was just a bug fix, and then that was it. They haven't done anything else since then. We don't have any idea what's coming. We've had no updates, no nothing.
Yeah.
We're about a week away from the last pack being out of the store.
Yeah.
But they've said nothing. So if they don't do something every few months, then people just start losing interest because they don't know what to look forward to or work on or whatever else.
Yeah. And welcome, Ray Rock. Glad to have you here. Yeah. Good to see all of you here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. All right. Yep. You see that? So you have different opinions about being an officer and stuff like that.
Never been an officer. No.
But like, yeah, just again, we talked about time. Is do you have the time and do you want to commit to it? Do you enjoy the game mode or what you'll be an officer for? I mean, for me, it's like, you can help you out. There was a great comment in there. You can help your guild out without being an officer. Like for me, like Karth and those guys know. I mean, I recruit my ass off if they ask me to. If they ask me to do something, I just do it, right? And they know I can rely. What I think is important is if we're doing TW and Karth messaged me like, go kill this. I'm like, all right, we're gonna kill this. I'm gonna go in there and start stomping, right? If they ask me to do certain things, I just like, yeah, because I know they got a tough gig, so I try to make sure I get my raid runs in early. I do my TW attacks immediately, and even if I fail, and they enjoy that when once in a while I have like this last TW I did, it's like, F this game. I was like, I did 2 attacks and it went horrible.
Flips table, leaves room.
I threw the table and I was like, fuck this game. And but they know I'm going to go in there and do my thing. So you can be supportive of your guild in other ways, doing that kind of stuff. And if they say, hey, we need people, I'll get up there and I'll start recruiting, and find people that want to join our guild and what are the requirements, that's things like that. So I'm going to be an officer, be in charge. Great. You don't, then you can still support your guild, and I think the old adage that I always tell you guys, if you want to learn to be a great leader, learn to be a great follower. Right? Because if you're in that position, you want people to support you, you should return the favor, right? You're not always going to be in charge. And if you're not, then you should support the person. And that doesn't mean just kissing their ass, that questioning and things of that nature, but supporting their decision, unless it's something outrageous, it's the easiest thing to do. And so, yeah, if you want to be an officer, go for it. If not, then that's fine. All right. I'll give you guys a few more minutes here for questions. I have escaped the shoeies.
Nice one.
We're ending the stream and I didn't have to do one damn shoey. I didn't raise any money for my video card, but take the good with the bad, take the most, and then you had the facts of life. The facts of life. Get your final questions in, things of that nature. We're going to wrap it up and then we'll end the stream there. So glad to have you guys here on a Saturday morning. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. My opponent's still attacking very slowly. I hate when they do this. One attack every hour. My God.
Yeah, I've won my main account already. It wasn't that hard. His back wall was actually spicy. I was actually like curious as to why he would drop so many battles versus me. And then it got to his back wall and it was just like, oh, so there's a Rey, there's a Lord Vader, there's a Slacker, there's a Star Killer, and there's the Sacron with Chirrut. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's where all your fun and excitement's hiding.
Yeah. But I hate strong back walls.
That's fair.
It's just like, okay, what are you doing? I mean, so they've taken out 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. I mean, I know I've got a crazy front defensive wall, but Jesus, it's like, okay, you do you.
Not done mine yet.
Someone suggests, I don't know how you guys feel about this, that they should hide the scores. I was like, that's interesting.
I don't mind them hiding, like, knowing the score. Well, I don't like that either. I just like the idea of, because there's so much tactical advantage of knowing what your opponent has done and where they failed at, that you can make certain risks because you know that they have already failed or dropped something. And for me, I was like, I understand the importance both directions of having that in play, but it at a certain point, I agree that I think it's too powerful of a mechanic to leave unchecked. You really need to actually be able to stop what's happening and know where you have to wager. Because it's like right now on my alternate account, I can see that my opponent had a really rough day versus my SAW team. He is 4 battles deep with a preload and hasn't gotten past it and is unlikely to get past it. And so it's like, all right, so now I have to do to win is just clear top, because they've clearly got nothing left to deal with back or to clear it, or they're trying not to get to use their GLs. But it's like at a certain junction, I can ignore parts of the battlefield or heavily handily counter some of these teams like I just did using Jabba to beat Seer Malicos. It's like I can afford it because there's no reason why I can't. I can just go do what I want. And so
yeah, I mean the reason for why people want Fog of War is that some people they have to attack first, and it is a huge advantage. Depending
huge
on
advantage.
For your opponents, like if you have a rough day, they can just do nothing. And that's just the way it is. But it's because they had to go first and everything like that. It also can work against them too if you have people that just go through and blitz your account, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, now I got a full clear, right? But I can stand both arguments. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I wouldn't be upset if they did it, and I won't be upset if they don't. It doesn't really matter. They'll go in and do like I always do, is go do GAC. I mean, I usually go in with the mindset that I've got a full clear. It's nice once in a while, when you don't. But typically in Kyber 2 and 1, people are active. They're going to make attempts. They're going to attack. But yeah, I can see the advantages and disadvantages of both sides. So if they decide to do it, great. If they don't, then, and I can see the arguments for both.
Yeah, if you want an efficient, I mean, I've during the older versions of GAC, where the full clear wasn't as ambiguous as it is playing these days.
Yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, my opponent's going to full clear me, I'm going to full clear them, and you'd wait for them to full clear you so you could do the math. Oh, right, I need an average of 52 for every single one. That's
right.
Brilliant, and then it's like, oh, I can afford to double tap that, or my opponent had 3 fails, so as long as I one shot everything and play it, because if you don't know the score, you might think, oh, maybe I want to risk this solo for some extra banners, or maybe you want to double tap a GL with off meta counters so that you can save your big bad team for something that might be on the back wall, things like that. But that you've also got to remember that SWGOH provides so much information and so much data on your opponent that seeing scores
between SWGOH.gg and the Omega bot, man, the Omega bot is like, if you want to get into the nitty gritty, the Omega bot is just nuts on what they'll provide. It tells you their attack times. It'll tell you what teams they typically use to counter certain teams, what teams they typically place on defense, and where they place it on the board. The Omega bot is brutally like a straight up like great mechanic to have if you want to get super into the nitty gritty of GAC. For a lot of players, it's asking a lot because it's a lot to just digest. I mean, it's like 2 pages of just infographics to read through. But if it's really what you want to get into, there's a lot of things that help take out some of the guesswork and help you plan accordingly. But for a lot of people, they just don't want to put that level of effort into GAC of scouting every opponent and running the bots and reading all the information and spending hours just to get 900 crystals. I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm just to the point of like, you know what? I like my time more than I like this. So we're just gonna we're just gonna not do that.
A lot of the time, I'm just going on SWGOH.gg to look at what my opponent's done in like the last week or so. I'm looking to see how many GLs they put on defense, what GLs they put on defense, so that I can come up with a couple of quick counters for them, and the teams that they struggle with. So if I see that they struggle with Mara Starkiller, I will begrudgingly put her on defense. But very begrudging, because I like taking Mara. I like keeping Mara for GL Rays, but not a lot of people put her on. And if my opponents struggle with Malgus or a specific, then I'm just looking to spend 30 minutes tops on each of my opponents, and I do all my research using SWGOH.gg because it's just so.
Yeah, I've used it. Usually 5s is more straightforward. In 3s, you do having SWGOH.gg is important because you can see the different counters even if you don't have like the tool itself, but you just go to SWGOH.gg is what I do and just look at what are some of the counters. All right. So I can use this team here, use this team here, use this team here. You know, this gives me some options. What's the most efficient, right, for each of those? So just spending a minute or two just looking at SWGOH.gg on what counters work against what for the most efficiency in banners, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It just makes a huge difference because in threes more than fives, you have to make decisions based off what teams you have and what's going to give you the best result. And and it's an invaluable tool.
Oh yeah, I mean, there are obvious things that players. I mean, there's doing. I mean, I always say do what you know first. So I mean, if you log in and you see a GG team, you're going to be like, thank you, that's Wampa fodder, you know, or you see.
I've been seeing so many Ewok teams. I'm like, thank you, Wampa, go have fun. It's like, you know,
but yeah, no. So you see, yeah, exactly. You see those teams, and you're like, yeah, I don't have to waste any time or thought on that. I know what I've got, and I know what's going to be it. But then, once you've done those 3 or 4 matches, you know, you've JTR'd you've JTR'd a crappy boss bounty hunter team because someone thinks it's still good on defense when it's not. You know, you've done your Wampa, you know, you've had your Wampa fodder. Yeah, you've used your B teams, you know, to clear a couple off, and then SWGOH.gg, it's like, oh crap, okay, there's a tray with Omicron. I need to go and have a look.
Yeah,
or,
and for
yeah,
and I'm in a little bit different boat because I typically will leave the same defense down. We'll move a team here or there during JC, but I want to see the stats because you guys will ask me questions and how it's performing and then showing what works on offense and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I will have typically teams in my roster for JC that I'm not really changing them. That's just for consistency for when we're doing battles. So, you know, you guys get some ideas on what will help your GAC. So I'm kind of like the guinea pig with that. It's like, okay, I'll leave this on defense and see how it does, or I'm going to use this on offense and see how it does. And then when you guys can ask questions about what's the performance like, I'm like, well, you know, for me, blah, 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 blah. All right. Hello there, Tumblo Dry, the man with the best phone in the business. It's easy now, Ranger Karthrick and Nev and Skewers and Skull Jahal. Oh, Skull Jahal indeed. So yes, with that, I think we can wrap this up. So thank you guys for joining us today. Let me check and verify. I don't think we're doing D&D stream tonight. Yeah, there was no plan for D&D. Let me verify. No, there's no D&D tonight. Looks like we got some people out for this weekend, which is fine. So make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all that crap that you hear me say on YouTube. It's just the nature of the beast. You know, share with your friends. You know, say, hey, you might like this.
That's the sound of the police.
So yeah, we'll be back Monday. Everyone have a great Super Bowl Sunday here in the US. And then Monday we'll be back for some more streaming on a Manic Monday with GAC, things of that nature. People have been asking me when me and Karth going to do another video when we have something interesting to talk about, you know. So if there's any new events, things of that nature, we'll do a video on it. But until then, it's like, me. We've done quite a lot. We've done Reva and Bo and Tier 2 of Leia. There's all those videos out there for you guys. So if you need help with any of those, we've got videos out there for it. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, we're not going to make a video on everything, you know. So it's like, you know, when we get something interesting, we'll do another video. So with that, thank you guys so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by. On behalf of myself and the Academy, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will holler later. Peace out.